What would you do if the two people you trusted most were betraying you in the same room while smiling in your face? I'm talking about your best friend, the man you treat like a brother, and your wife. Picture this. They're sitting at your dinner table. Your kids are laughing. You're passing around homemade lasagna, and they're texting each other, right there, under your nose, planning their escape, planning their future, planning to destroy two families. All while you're asking if anyone wants more garlic bread. They were sneaking glances at school events, having emergency meetings at coffee shops, and creating elaborate lies about committee work and late-night projects. For months, maybe even years. But this isn't just a story about betrayal. It's a story about how I turned their little secret into a public disgrace that cost them everything. Their power, their prestige, their peace of mind, and their precious reputations. And the best part? They never saw it coming. Because while they thought they were so clever, so careful, so strategic, I was 10 steps ahead. If you love stories where cheaters get destroyed in the most satisfying way possible, smash that like button and buckle up. Because this one's personal. And by the end, you'll understand why revenge truly is a dish best served cold. Let me paint you a picture of what my life looked like before everything went hell. My name's Jason, early 40s husband, father of two beautiful kids, living what most people would call the American dream in a tight-knit suburban town where everyone knows everyone. My wife, let's call her Emma, blonde, ambitious, the kind of woman who had her life planned out to the minute. We've been together for over a decade, high school sweethearts who actually made it work. The kind of couple people looked at and said, see, true love exists. Emma was a rising star in our school district, hard-working, respected, the golden girl who could do no wrong. She'd just finished her master's degree and was being groomed for a major administrative position, her dream job, the one she'd worked toward for years. And then there were our best friends across the street, Todd and Sarah, with their two kids who were practically siblings to ours. Now Todd was something else. Charismatic, ambitious, the kind of guy who could sell ice to an Eskimo. He ran a small construction business, but his real passion was politics, local politics, but still, he had big dreams. Picture this. Our houses were literally across the street from each other. Our kids rode bikes together. We had keys to each other's homes. Summer barbecues that lasted until midnight. Thanksgiving dinners where we combined families and needed two tables. Christmas mornings where the kids would run back and forth between houses, opening presents. We even rented a beach house together every summer. Same week, same house, for 5 years running. The kids called it their second family vacation. It was a kind of friendship that felt deeper than blood. Todd and I would spend hours talking about everything. Work, dreams, fears, marriage problems, parenting struggles. Real conversations. The kind where you bare your soul. And our wives? Emma and Sarah were practically sisters. Shopping trips, wine nights, shared babysitting duties, and joint birthday parties for the kids. When Todd decided to run for the Board of Education 2 years ago, it wasn't even a question. We were all in. I designed his campaign flyers, spent weekends knocking on doors with him. Emma used her connections in the district to spread the word. Sarah organized fundraising events. We believed in him. We believed in his vision for better schools, better opportunities for our kids. And against all odds, he won. Barely, just 43 votes, but he won. I remember that election night. We celebrated at our house until 2 a.m. Todd gave this emotional speech about how he couldn't have done it without his family, meaning us. We were the reason he'd be able to make a difference. Emma and I went to bed that night feeling proud, feeling like we'd helped change our community for the better. But success changes people. Or maybe it just reveals who they really were all along. After Todd got on the board, everything shifted. He started carrying himself differently, more confident, more important. And suddenly, he and Emma had a lot more in common. Board meetings, committee work, district strategy sessions, late nights at the school administration building, emergency calls about urgent education matters. I didn't think much of it at first. Emma was passionate about education, and Todd was her friend. Of course, they'd work well together. But then I started noticing things, little things that didn't quite add up. Emma would get texts during dinner and immediately grab her phone with a little smile. When I'd ask who it was, she'd say, just work stuff, but never show me the screen. Todd started showing up at our house more often when Sarah wasn't around, just stopping by to chat with Emma about school stuff. They'd have these intense conversations that would stop the moment I walked into the room. And Emma started going to more evening meetings. Way more. Sometimes 3 or 4 nights a week. For months, I pushed these nagging thoughts aside. These were the two people I trusted most in the world. My wife of over a decade. My best friend whom I'd helped win an election. I mean, what kind of paranoid husband suspects his wife of cheating with his best friend? Pause. Voice getting colder. Turns out, the smart kind. Because on a rainy Tuesday evening in March, When I came home early from a client meeting, everything I thought I knew about my life was about to explode. Picture this. It's 6:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. I'm supposed to be in a client meeting until 8, but the guy canceled last minute. No big deal. I'll surprise Emma and the kids with takeout from that Italian place they love. I walk into my house, arms full of food, calling out, "Honey, I'm home early," like some sitcom dad. No answer. The kids are at my mother-in-law's for the night. I remember Emma mentioning something about a sleepover. I set the food down and called out again. "Em, you here?" That's when I hear it. Muffled voices are coming from our home office upstairs. Emma's voice and another voice, a male voice. My stomach drops, but I tell myself it's probably just a work call, maybe a conference call about some school project. But as I get closer to the stairs, I can hear laughter, intimate laughter, the kind of laughter that has nothing to do with quarterly budget reports. I stand at the bottom of the staircase for what feels like an hour, but was probably only 30 seconds, listening. And then I hear Todd's voice, clear as day. "We have to be more careful. Sarah's getting suspicious about all these late meetings." Emma responds, "I know. Jason asked me yesterday why I've been working so many evenings. I think I'm running out of excuses." My legs almost gave out. I'm standing in my own house, listening to my wife and best friend discuss how to better hide their affair from their spouses. I can't breathe. I can't think. I can't move. But I can listen. "The therapy sessions are helping," Emma continues. "Dr. Martinez thinks we should tell them soon. She says the longer we wait, the harder it'll be." Therapy sessions. Plural. My wife is in couples therapy with another man. Behind my back. I just need to get through this school board term. Todd says, "If this gets out now, it'll destroy everything I've worked for. Everything we've worked for." "I know, baby. We just have to be patient a little longer." Baby. She called him baby. I don't remember walking back to my car. I don't remember driving around for 2 hours. I don't remember coming back home and pretending everything was normal when Emma asked where the Italian food went. All I remember is lying in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, while my wife slept peacefully beside me, probably dreaming about her future with my best friend. The next morning, after Emma left for work, I did what any rational person would do. I became a detective in my own marriage. I started with her email. We'd always shared passwords, or so I thought. Turns out, she created a new account, but she made one crucial mistake. She'd set up the recovery email to her old account, the one I had access to. 15 minutes later, I was reading through months of correspondence, and it was worse than I'd imagined. Not only were they having an affair, they were planning their entire future together. Dream houses they wanted to buy, vacation destinations for when this is all over, schools for the kids, joint custody arrangements. They'd been planning to leave us for months. But the emails to Dr. Martinez were the most painful. Couples therapy sessions, paid for with money from our joint checking account. My money, funding my wife's relationship counseling with another man. The therapist thought they should tell Sarah and me gently and compassionately so we could all move forward as a family unit for the children's sake. How thoughtful. Then I checked our phone records. 500 texts in 1 month. 500. During Thanksgiving dinner, 47 texts back and forth while we sat at the same table. Christmas morning, 23 texts while we opened presents with our children. My birthday party, 31 texts. Every family gathering, every dinner, every movie night, every conversation we'd had as couples over the past 6 months. They'd been texting each other, planning, scheming, laughing at us. But the phone records revealed something else interesting. The most active texting periods were during school board meetings. Apparently, democracy was boring when you had someone's wife to flirt with via text message. I spent 3 days collecting evidence. Screenshots, printed emails, phone records, and bank statements showing payments to the therapist. I had everything. And then I confronted Emma. I'll never forget that conversation. I waited until after dinner, after the kids went to bed. We were sitting in our living room, the same room where we'd celebrated Todd's election victory. "I know about Todd," I said, simply. Her face went white. Not surprised white. Caught white. "I know about the therapy sessions. I know about the 500 texts. I know about your plans to leave us gently." She started crying immediately. Not tears of remorse. Tears of panic. "Jason, please let me explain. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. We tried to fight it. We really did." "How long?" I asked. "It started about 8 months ago. Just as friends at first. Then 8 months. 8 months of lies, deception, planning, and laughing at me behind my back. We were going to tell you," she continued. "We were working with Dr. Martinez to find the right way. We didn't want to hurt you or Sarah." I almost laughed. They didn't want to hurt us, but they were perfectly fine betraying us, lying to us, and planning their escape using our own money. We love each other, Jason. Really love each other. Not the comfortable love of a long marriage. Passionate, deep love. The kind that changes your whole life. And there it was. Not only had she betrayed me, she was minimizing our entire relationship to justify it. I looked at this woman I'd loved for over a decade, the mother of my children, and realized I was looking at a stranger. So what now? I asked. We want to do this right, she said. Todd's going to tell Sarah this weekend. We'll file for divorce amicably. Joint custody. We'll still be neighbors, still be friends. The kids won't have to choose sides. They had it all figured out. The perfect plan for the perfect betrayal. Except they forgot one small detail. They forgot to account for me. Long pause. Voice drops to almost a whisper. Okay, I told her. If that's what you want, then that's what we'll do. She looked relieved. Actually relieved. Thank you, Jason. Thank you for being so understanding. I know this is hard, but just give me a few days to process everything. I interrupted. Before you tell Sarah. Before we tell the kids. Just give me some time. She agreed. Of course she agreed. She thought she'd won. What she didn't know was that I'd already started planning my own version of doing this right. And my version was going to be much more satisfying than hers. Now, let me tell you about the beautiful irony of the situation. 2 years ago, when Todd decided to run for the Board of Education, he was a complete political unknown. A small-town construction guy with big dreams and zero name recognition. The race had 3 candidates. Todd, the incumbent who'd been on the board for 12 years, and another challenger who'd run twice before. Todd was the underdog, the afterthought, but he had something the other candidates didn't have. He had me. I didn't just help with his campaign. I practically ran it. I designed every piece of campaign material. Flyers, yard signs, bumper stickers, social media graphics. I spent my evenings and weekends creating a brand for this man. I wrote his speeches. I prepped him for the candidate debates. I drove him to every community event, every coffee shop meet and greet, every senior center presentation. I used my business connections to get him meetings with local leaders. I leveraged my reputation in the community to get him endorsements. Emma, with her sterling reputation in the school district, was our secret weapon. Teachers loved her. Parents trusted her. When Emma said Todd would be good for school, people listened. We knocked on doors together, made phone calls together, distributed literature together. On election night, we were all there at campaign headquarters, really just Todd's garage with some folding tables and a coffee pot. Sarah made a sheet cake with "Congratulations, Board Member Todd," written in blue frosting. When the results came in, Todd won by exactly 43 votes. 43 votes. I remember doing the math that night. My immediate family, me, Emma, my parents, Emma's parents, that's 6 votes right there. Our close friends that I'd personally convinced to vote for Todd. That's at least 20 more votes. Todd probably owed his entire political career to my network, my work, and my wife's reputation. Without us, he'd still be just another small-town contractor complaining about politics at the local diner. But becoming a board member changed Todd, or revealed who he really was. Suddenly, he was important. He had status. He was making decisions that affected hundreds of families. Local newspaper articles quoted him. People knew his name. And with that newfound importance came an intoxicating sense of power. Power that, apparently, made other men's wives more attractive. The irony was delicious. Todd was using the political position I'd helped him win to spend more time with the wife I'd asked him to help him get elected. Board meetings became their cover story. Committee work became their excuse for secret dates. School district business became code for affair planning. But here's what they didn't know. A romantic relationship between a school board member and a district employee is a serious violation of ethics policies. Not just frowned upon, potentially career-ending for both of them. Emma was about to be promoted to assistant superintendent of curriculum, a position she'd worked toward for 5 years. A position that came with a $60,000 salary increase, better benefits, and district-wide respect. Todd was in his first term as a board member, but he'd already positioned himself as the education reform candidate. He had plans to run for mayor in 2 years. Both of their careers were built on their reputations for integrity, family values, and putting children first. I had documentation of their affair. I had evidence of their ethics violations. I had proof of their deception. I could have destroyed them both with a single email to the district superintendent and the local newspaper. But that wouldn't have been elegant. That would have been emotional. Messy. The act of a bitter, betrayed husband lashing out in anger. And I wasn't angry anymore. I was strategic. So instead of exposing them myself, I created someone else to do it. A concerned community member. A fictional character who was outraged by the affair and planning to make it public. I told Emma that this friend, someone who'd seen them together, was planning to attend the next school board meeting and expose their relationship during the public comment period. I'm trying to talk them out of it. I told her, playing the role of concerned husband trying to protect his wife. But they're really angry. They feel like you and Todd betrayed not just your spouses, but the entire community that trusted you. Emma panicked. Immediately, she called Todd, and within an hour, he was at our house. "Jason, man, we need to talk," he said, looking more scared than I'd ever seen him. "I know about you and Emma," I told him. "I've known for weeks." His shoulders sagged. The great politician, reduced to a guilty child. "I'm so sorry, brother. This wasn't how we wanted you to find out. We were going to tell you this weekend." Brother. He called me brother while admitting to sleeping with my wife. "Here's the thing," I continued. "I could probably live with this. Divorce happens. People fall out of love. But there's someone else who knows, and they're not as understanding as I am." I explained about the fictional angry friend who was planning to expose them publicly at the next board meeting. They're talking about bringing printed emails, photos, phone records. They want to make an example out of you both. Todd went pale. "Jason, please. My career, my reputation, everything I've worked for will be destroyed." "I'm trying to calm them down," I said, "but I can't guarantee they won't show up. They feel like the community has a right to know that their board member is having an affair with a district employee." The next 48 hours were beautiful to watch. Todd called me 6 times, begging for updates on whether the angry friend was still planning to attend the meeting. Emma couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. She kept asking if I thought they should hire a lawyer. "Maybe you should just get ahead of this," I suggested. "Control the narrative before someone else does." And that's exactly what they did. 3 days before the next board meeting, Todd scheduled a private meeting with the district superintendent, a man who became a friend and mentor to him. Todd confessed everything. The affair, the ethics violation, the potential public exposure. The superintendent, a good man who genuinely believed in Todd, was devastated. "Todd," he said, "you know I have to recommend your resignation. This isn't just about the affair. It's about the ethics violation, the breach of trust with the community." "I know," Todd replied. "I'm prepared to resign." And just like that, the political career I'd helped him build was over. But the story doesn't end there. The superintendent, trying to minimize damage to the district, had a quiet conversation with Emma. "Emma, you know how much we value your work. You're talented, dedicated, everything we want in a leader. But this situation, it's complicated." Emma sat in his office, the office where she'd expected to negotiate a promotion, and heard her dreams crumble. The board has concerns about promoting someone who's been involved in this kind of situation. It's not about your qualifications. It's about optics, the community trusts. The assistant superintendent position, the job she worked 5 years to earn, went to an outside candidate. Emma would keep her current job, but her upward trajectory in the district was over. Everyone would know why. But my favorite moment, the moment that made all the planning worthwhile, happened 2 weeks later. Emma and I took our son out for his birthday breakfast, one last family outing before she moved out. We were sitting in our usual booth at the diner when Mrs. Patterson, one of the school board members, stopped by our table. "Emma," she said, bright and cheerful, "congratulations on the promotion. When do you start in your new role?" Mrs. Patterson hadn't heard yet. The news was still making its way through the district gossip network. Emma forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Actually, they decided to go with someone else." "Oh," Mrs. Patterson said, confused. "Well, I'm sure something even better will come along." After she left, Emma excused herself to the bathroom. I could see her through the window, crying silently in the bathroom mirror. 30 minutes later, as we drove home in silence, I decided it was time. "Emma," I said, my voice calm and conversational, "I need to tell you something." She looked at me, probably expecting another conversation about custody arrangements or moving logistics. There was never an angry friend planning to expose you at the board meeting. She stared at me, not understanding. There was never anyone else who knew about your affair. There was never anyone planning to attend the board meeting. Understanding dawned slowly on her face. It was just me, one man with a broken heart, and a very simple plan. You see, I knew that if you thought someone else was going to expose you, you'd panic. You'd rush to control the narrative. You confessed before you could be exposed. And I was right. Emma pulled the car over to the side of the road. Her hands were shaking. You orchestrated all of this. I gave you both exactly what you deserved. Todd used a political position I helped him win to steal my wife. So I used that same position to destroy his career. You wanted to leave me for your dream job and your dream man. So I made sure you lost both. But Jason, I'm not finished, I said calmly. You both spent months planning how to gently destroy 2 families. You used our money for therapy sessions to plan your betrayal. You texted each other at our children's birthday parties. You didn't just cheat on me, Emma. You disrespected me. You made me complicit in my own humiliation. So yes, I planned this, every detail, and it worked perfectly. Emma was crying now, but they weren't the tears of someone who was sorry for what she'd done. They were tears of someone who was sorry she'd been caught. "How could you be so cold?" she asked. I looked at my wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, and smiled. I learned from Bess. That was 8 months ago. Today, as I'm recording this story, let me tell you where everyone ended up. Todd's political career is over. Completely over. Word spread quickly through our small town about why he resigned from the school board. The official reason was personal matters, but everyone knew what that meant. His construction business took a hit too. Turns out, people don't want to hire contractors who cheat on their wives with their best friend's spouses. Bad for the reputation. Last I heard, he's selling the house across the street from mine, the house where our children played together for years. He's moving to a small townhouse across town, downsizing significantly. Child support payments are bleeding him dry, according to Sarah, who's getting everything she asked for in a divorce. And Todd, the charismatic, confident politician who was planning to run for mayor, he barely leaves his house anymore. When I see him in town, he avoids eye contact. The swagger is gone. The confidence is gone. He's become a ghost in his own community. Emma's story is even more satisfying. She kept her job at the district, but her reputation is destroyed. The golden girl who could do no wrong is now the woman who threw away her marriage and career for an affair. The assistant superintendent position she'd worked 5 years to earn, the $60,000 raise, the respect and authority she craved, all gone. They brought in someone from outside the district. Someone without baggage, someone the community could trust. Emma sits in the same meeting she used to lead, now watching someone else make the decision she dreamed of making. Her colleagues are polite but distant. Parents who used to seek her advice now keep their conversations brief and professional. She moved into a small apartment downtown. Nothing like the suburban dream house we'd built together. And Todd, the great love that was worth destroying 2 families? Word is they're trying to make it work. Good luck with that. Turns out, relationships built on betrayal and deception don't have the strongest foundations. Who would have thought? As for me, I won't lie, the first few months were hell. Divorce is never easy, especially when your children are involved. But there's something profoundly satisfying about knowing that justice was served. Not by accident, not by karma, not by someone else. By me. I took 2 people who thought they were smarter than everyone else, who thought they could manipulate and deceive without consequences, and I gave them exactly what they deserved. My kids are doing well. Joint custody is working out better than I expected. They're too young to understand all the details, but they know that sometimes adults make mistakes and families change. Sarah and I become genuine friends through all of this. 2 people who were betrayed by the people we trusted most, who helped each other navigate the legal and emotional aftermath. She's thriving, actually. The divorce settlement was very generous. Todd's guilt worked in her favor. She's back in school, pursuing a degree she put on hold when they got married. And me? I'm doing better than I have in years. I've started dating again. Nothing serious yet. But it's nice to remember what it feels like to be with someone who actually wants to be with you. My business is growing. Turns out, when you're not distracted by a cheating wife and lying best friend, you can focus on what really matters. I sleep well at night. I look at myself in the mirror every morning and feel proud of how I handled the worst situation of my life. I didn't lose my temper. I didn't make emotional decisions. I didn't let them drive me to do something I'd regret. I simply made sure that actions had consequences. To anyone listening who might be going through something similar, don't get mad. Don't get emotional. Don't make decisions from a place of anger or hurt. Get strategic. Think 10 steps ahead. And remember, the best revenge isn't getting even. It's giving people exactly what they deserve and making sure they know you're the one who gave it to them. They thought they were so clever, so careful, so strategic. But they forgot one simple truth. Never underestimate a quiet man with a broken heart and a plan. Sometimes, justice doesn't come from the courts or karma or divine intervention. Sometimes, justice comes from one person who refuses to be a victim. And sometimes, that's the most satisfying justice of all. Thanks for listening to my story. And remember, actions have consequences, even when you think no one is watching. Especially when you think no one is watching.